Hi everyone, and happy return. We appreciate you being here. We're going to tell you a brand new story today. So let's get started. I'm a United States Naval Academy graduate. I applied what they taught me to the battlefield. We refer to it as the art of war. I applied it in combat. It was time to put it to work in my union. Lieutenant Colonel Mason Ryan is my name. I served in the Marines for 16 years before retiring. Not that I was eager to go. However, I had to. I was left close to the gates of hell when my helicopter crashed in the midst of Kabul, taking strikes from the Taliban and killing everyone on board. Being the closest to the helicopter door allowed me to live. My body was thrown out and I landed on the top of a large house as the RPG struck the tail rotor and the helicopter went into a death spiral. Fortunately, the ceiling gave way, slowing my descent. My leg fractured in most places. My ribs felt like rocks. Split at 2 places in the neck. The rescue crew lifted me up and then moved me. Berlin in AC 130. I was unconscious for 4 weeks before I opened my eyes. It required 2 years of rehabilitation for me to recover. My heart was still crushed, even if my body was getting better. I didn't know what to do because I didn't have any employment. Knowing about my predicament, the Brigadier General gave me some suggestions that helped me land a job, in a nearby retail center as the head of security. Though it was not as thrilling as taking on the Taliban, I was nonetheless paid for my work, and I had my days. After serving as a soldier, or being away for a while, life began anew and I found calm in the church. I attempted to work out every morning in an effort to get back in shape. Every Sunday I attended the church and helped with some small tasks there. When my parents would come to visit, they would advise me to settle down and find a wife. Well, I knew at 37 years old. It was either now or never. I haven't had a committed relationship yet. In the past, I did date a few ladies, but mostly because I was stationed abroad. I was never able to commit to getting married. I made the decision to go out there and signed up for a couple dating apps. Despite my stunning looks, my face scars did draw some extra attention to my profile. I think scarred guys appeal to women. Mine came from fighting. The message did not take long to arrive. I accepted Stacy McDonald's request to send a message, and for 5 minutes we conversed. In the end, we agreed to get together. I was surprised to find her in my own city. Thus, the planning and execution of the conference went quickly. We surprisingly met in a neighborhood cafe. To discover that she resembled her profile photo in real life. She came over to greet me with a wave. She smiled. I was expecting a desperate 70-year-old man, even I am taken aback. You resembled your photo exactly. I grinned. These wounds are genuine. I assumed they were only enhanced by Photoshop. No. They're in Afghanistan with me. What would you want to have, by the way? I inquired. After getting ourselves some coffee, we talked for 2 hours. She was a history professor at a nearby college. Never tied the knot. She claims that people find her geeky and dull, since she speaks excessively about historical topics. But I really enjoyed our discussions. After a year of dating, I moved in with her. After 2 years of dating and 1 year of living together, I proposed to Stacy. After her acceptance, we were married. Our goal was not to become parents. We opted to postpone the plan even though we wanted to adopt. It was an amazing experience. We relished our brief but happy existence. It was easy. We used to leave for work, return home, and have supper, and enjoy our passionate evenings and tender cuddles. I was not able to ask for more. People react strangely to love. You will get weaker or completely transformed as a result of it. Stacy was a reserved and extremely shy woman. She'd emerged from her cocoon to be with me. Her personality lacked vibrancy. She was happier and more gregarious. However, as you can see, life was never fair. Someone is probably observing from above. Always tries to spice up your existence. But perhaps occasionally his hand slips and he adds too much for him to bear. Recently, Stacy began going out with her friends. At first, I was dubious and even went with her where she was going. Not because I was suspicious, but just to make sure she was secure. She had never become so socially involved before. She began attending yoga classes at the gym. I was overjoyed to witness your transformation. From an awkward lady to a stunningly attractive supermodel, she was. At the kitchen table with me a few days later. I had the pupils go out with me. In the southwest of Colorado is Tomasa Verde National Park. We need to finish our project at Cliff Palace. That is a wonderful place, she remarked. When I was younger, I was there. When are you going? We shall return by Tuesday evening, this Friday morning. How can you expect me to spend so much time apart from you? How will I get some rest? Let me give you some love that lasts that long, I said. She did fulfill her word. And that night was fantastic. Ride the Space Mountain all night long, as my favorite professional wrestler Ric Flair used to say. I was a little terrified on Friday morning for the first time in years when Stacy departed. It was a little terrifying, though I'm not sure why. Something in my heart told me that this was wrong. Put an end to her. Sometimes your instincts guide you in the correct direction, but most of the time we choose to disregard them. Stacy maintained in touch with me via phone calls during her vacation, updating me on her whereabouts and activities. She sounded a little worn out and depressed on Sunday night. She told me she just wanted to relax and she was a little fatigued. I picked her up from the airport on Tuesday night and headed home. As soon as I got home, I wanted to get down and dirty with her. She just kissed me and stated she wanted to rest, with no emotion. She said nothing but complained about being weary for the following 3 days. I questioned if something had happened during the journey as I was not buying her story. Her mouth opened to say something, but she quickly returned to talking about how weary she was. I'm a former Marine, did she forget that? I've witnessed individuals deceive me. I know how to spot them and extract the truth from them. But this wasn't a Taliban soldier, this was my wife. Although I took no action, a little warning sign was raised. When I returned from work the following evening, she was already at home. She attacked me as soon as I got home. We didn't ever get near the bed. It was excellent, but it was also a cause for concern. Emotions are not something you turn on and off quickly. I began observing her every action. You naturally become at ease in their presence when you adore them, and let your observations to fade. But as soon as you begin to watch them closely, everything becomes evident. Newfound fixation with being in shape, dressing nicely for a girl's night out in shorts, spending more time on social media, talking on the phone, and taking selfies. Was this the real her? Or was the geeky character she had assumed a lie? I'm a United States Naval Academy graduate. I applied what they taught me to the battlefield. Titled The Art of War. I applied it in combat. It was time to put it to work in my union. Planting the first chapter. Use of spice in Chapter 13. Examine the 5 guiding principles. To begin with, how is she cheating? Seasons, nothing to check her with. Second, urban warfare is going on. Third, landscape, see my neighborhood and her college. Fourth, as a leader, make sure all parties are present. Fifth, look into the backgrounds of the management. I had to start watching Stacy closely. I put voice-activated recorders in her car, 3 in my house, and covert cameras throughout the house's exterior, living room, and kitchen. Due of my work commitments, I was unable to conduct a manual monitoring system for her automobile, so I put a low jack. If she was using her car, I would know where she is going. I did leave work early for 2 days in order to monitor her whereabouts. Finding the guilty party did not take long. 21-year-old history student Roger Grisham. That really was a new low. I anticipated an elderly academic. Roger Grisham is a local businessman who operates in the illegal immigration and crystal distribution industries. His father, Teddy Grisham, is also an ambitious politician. Roger is a sportsman. According to what I could make out, he is competent. Certain compounds don't do anything unless they come into touch with a certain element. At times, the outcome is astounding, and at other times, disastrous. That was done for her by Stacy. Part 2: Fighting the Battle. It challenges us to comprehend the economics of conflict and how victory is necessary for prosperity. Swift decisions made in meetings. Put succinctly, what would it cost me to act? The house isn't mine. No shared account exists between us. Her pay is higher than mine. Not paying her alimony. I thus don't lose much money. Plan of attack, Chapter 3. I now have audio and footage spanning a week. After I have finished all of them, I will create any plans that need to be made. Despite having only one-sided recordings, I was still able to discern what was happening. It seems that during their journey, Roger had seduced Stacy. Even though Stacy first misinterpreted it, it appears that she is becoming excited over the realization that what she is doing is improper. Even someone who has always observed the rules occasionally finds excitement in disregarding them. It gives him an entirely new kind of high. And that person is Stacy. They've even dared to share private moments in our kitchen. I assume that Stacy has progressed past the point of going back. Should I continue attempting to save my marriage? Do I simply give her a divorce instead? Has the excitement gone to her head and changed who she is? If that's the case, I should immediately leave in order to protect my feelings. Only when I confront her will that be possible. The objective is to speak with her and perhaps get a divorce. Roger, on the other hand, is going to get a lesson about limits and the need for respect. Section 4. Dispositions that are tactical. Instructs commanders on the value of identifying strategic openings and how to prevent giving the adversary any opportunity. I waited for Stacy at home while gathering all the evidence. At 7 p.m., Stacy entered. That night, with a beer in my hand, I was sitting at the kitchen table waiting for her. College work is excessive. I asked because I was exhausted. I feel quite anxious. Feeling anxious? I believe that having sex lowers cortisol levels. How could you possibly be under stress? She gave Me a perplexed expression. You had sex today, Stacy, so don't be shocked. In actuality, you had intercourse at this very table. I suppose traveling to and from college might wear you out, but not overwhelmed. She let out a gasp. What topic are you discussing? You were not deceived by me. How are you able to say that? I begged her to follow me as I stood up. On TV, I played a video. The woman does in fact resemble you. It sounds like you. Possesses the identical mole on her right posterior. She must be you, I suppose. Stacy started weeping and lost it. I adored you, I was with you all the time, and I spoiled you. On the same table that we eat at, you are getting screwed here. I'm breaking up with Stacy. I'm going to start the divorce procedure in the morning by contacting a lawyer. I headed to the bedroom, packed a few outfits, and left. I noticed Stacy smiling as she sat on the couch as I descended. That smile wasn't the same. Where have I seen that, I wonder? Afghanistan. That's a smile I've seen on a Taliban fighter, right before he lost it. That day I made it through. Energy consumption in Chapter 5. Be imaginative and generate energy. While I stood there, something occurred to me. I picked up my phone and pressed the send button to send a certain message to a particular address. I awaited an answer. The response arrived 30 seconds later. PTA for 14 minutes. I have to be in the home for 14 minutes. I then returned to the bedroom and turned off the microphones. When I returned to the kitchen, the living room followed suit. Nearly 14 minutes. Right there, sitting with that sly smile on her face, was Stacy. What is she going to do? I turned to leave the home. A car came in my direction. Before I ever got inside, I knew that automobile. There were 3 shots fired. One struck my arm and the other 2 missed. We jumped in and were on our way. I observed the wound. It just missed the arm. The gunman is a rookie, according to the driver. Ralph, thanks for coming. I'm happy to help, sir. Weak and strong points in Chapter 6. It describes how to react to modifications in the dynamic battlefield, or over a certain region. I headed directly over to Ralph's house. After finishing, they needed to identify the gunman. The video captured by the outside camera of the house was crisp. Roger was the one. The recorders produced crisp recordings. Stacy told him and begged that he look after me. She is finished if anything leaks out, and the political career of his father is ended. There was nothing further that Roger could do. Their fears have been made evident. All we have to do is strike them there. You were fortunate, mister, there was no vein struck by the bullet. Others are en route and have been notified. 5 hours is the ETA. Regards, Ralph. My life was saved by you today. I never told anyone, but you, sir, are the reason I am still here. I owe my life to you, sir. 5 hours later, a team of 5 came in and stood in front of me. We got the mail, sir. Chapter 7, Maneuvering an Army. The start of direct confrontation and how to win them. Specific instructions were given to all 5. Team of 2 would shadow Roger's father and see if he is panicked. Another team of 2 will go find Roger. Ralph will confront him. Ralph, whatever you do, he needs to stay alive. We do not want to go to jail, Ralph smiled. I've never been a killer. I simply destroyed them. Army on March, 9 situations and variation of tactics are covered in Chapters 8, 9, and 10. It describes how to move your forces to the appropriate location, apt to changing conditions on the battlefield, and respond to them successfully. Roger was promptly located by the 2-person squad at the college football field. He appeared as though nothing had occurred, or perhaps he was certain that his father would handle things. His father is meeting someone important at a 5th-floor parking lot, which was located by the opposing team. Mexican individuals. Ralph put on his football uniform and covered his face with a mask. Record was the name written on the reverse. It was obvious to everyone that he was the odd man out as he approached the field. The odd guy out is usually a 6'10", 300-pound male. Roger had little chance because of his 5 frame. Ralph bounded forward as soon as the ball was in play. His target was in his sights. He struck him with the force of a truck, stood up, and fled the field. The fragrance made the lads who were trying to pick him up take 2 steps back. Roger took such a tremendous blow to his back that he broke and shit in his trousers. Nobody glimpsed the face of the large person. There was a deal going on back in the parking lot. Police sirens rapidly filled the neighborhood. Roger's dad hopped in his car and sped away. He was unable to go too far. His automobile plunged 5 stories below the edge of the building after being struck by another motorist. He was taken into custody with Crystal. Attack by fire, Chapter 12. Both the widespread use of weaponry and the targeted application of environmental warfare. I filed a police complaint against my wife, Stacy, as soon as I entered the police station. In less than 30 minutes he was hauled up, and I turned in the video and audio records. Given that Stacy had attempted to murder me, the court saw no problem with my divorce petition. In addition to receiving a 7-year term, Stacy was mandated to pay $40,000 in damages. I was a former Marine who had served my country, therefore the judge was severe. Roger received a 10-year term as well. As soon as he can stand up, he will begin his punishment. He continued to have concussion-related symptoms. In addition to his 20-year term, his father is also facing many pending lawsuits by the FBI. My wound from the shooting is still mending. I gave Ralph a call once the divorce was finalized. I wished him well and assured him that I would be available for him at any time. He indicated it may happen shortly. Thailand is where I am. Are you connected in any way here? I'll give you a call or two. They'll give you a call. After saying that, I hung up. I have never created a profile on a dating website or downloaded a dating app. My mother still desires that I find another woman. I have 2 German Shepherd females that I own. I appreciate you seeing. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you liked this video in order to see more tales like to it. Until we meet again.